Hi, I'm Margie, and I'm back again with this royal icing because I'm going to show you how to make, I'm going to show you how to make the rosebuds in this video. And this is what they look like. There's actually a couple of steps to them because you see the rosebuds there, but if you look at the back, they also have little green stems. Okay, those are very simple. Now I've taken some royal icing in two different bowls because I'm going to have a little bit of green for the rosebud, for the kind of leaf part of the rosebud. I'm going to have a little bit of red. We'll do red. I'll also make some yellow later. It's nice to have more than one color. Okay, so be careful when you stir. So you don't get the color on you. Okay, that's not too bad. You want your colors to be light, unless you know you really have a reason to have it darker. I like to make them a little bit lighter. So there's my red, pink, really. But remember, every bit of liquid that you add to your icing is going to make your icing a little thinner. And then I have, this is just a cookie sheet with a piece of parchment paper on it for actually piping the little rosebuds on. Now I've just filled one of my bags up with the red, and I'm using a rose tip. It's like a 104 rose tip. And when I made the bag, I put a little piece of tape around just to hold this little flap sometimes from hitting the rosebud. I just wrapped a piece of tape. Then I have a wet paper towel. I'm just going to put the tip of the tip into that. Now I have another bag I've made up. There's no tip in here, and I'll show you why in a second. So we're just going to go ahead and put that in. That's the bottom. That's for the bottom of the rosebud. I'm just going to cut a little hole out of the bottom of this, and you'll see why in a second. Okay, so I'm not going to put this into the wet paper towel because it'll make the paper a little bit damp and it might tear it while I'm using it. Okay, so here's my parchment paper on my cookie sheet, and I have my tip for my rosebud. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do them onto the parchment paper. If you put a little dot of icing in the corners of your parchment paper like this, the parchment paper will stay down. Okay? So when you start your rosebud, you put the wide part of the tip down, and then you just kind of give it a turn, squeeze out and turn, make a little fan, and then touch the corner and bring it back in. Do another little loop. So you squeeze out, and then you touch this, and then when you squeeze, it should curve it back in. See, it will curve it back in. It's kind of fun, kind of clever. What I'm doing to these little pink roses is I'm adding, this is white, and I'm adding just a little bit of a petal to the outside. It's a white petal. And we'll see how that dries tomorrow, how that looks. Just so you make a nice little row. Try not to let them touch because they will stick. Okay? Squeeze out to make a loop. Remember, I just pulled that off. If you do this and then quickly take it off, that won't happen. Okay? And you just keep doing them in a row. And the reason why you do them in a row, you can do a couple of these things like that. Alright, so there's your little rosebuds. And then with this tip, okay, you want to just cut off about 1/16 of an inch. And you stick this right into the rosebud bottom and you squeeze a little bit and then you just pull off. Stick that in there, squeeze a little bit and pull off. Then you have the little tips, the little stems on your rosebuds. Very cute. If you make these in white, you can use them for weddings, or what I suggest to people is that if they start off with mostly white, and if they have a color, they add a little bit of another rosebud in that color. They have a majority is white, and the rest of it is a color. Make that little fan, come back around. And after a while, they'll start to go very quickly. Okay, so that's it. Pull off without squeezing. First squeeze and then let go, and there you go. So they'll go pretty quickly. On each table, we probably count the number of people at each table, and we probably only put 2, maybe 3 for each person at the table. You don't need to have a big bowl of these mints. They're more for decoration. They're very, very pretty.